What's up, Math 8? Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Math with Mullins. Today we're going to get started with our lesson of 4.2 translations, and our main objective today is to translate a figure. The first thing we want to understand are what are these three vocabulary terms. A transformation, which is the topic of our entire chapter 4, changes a figure into another figure. The image is the transformed figure. That's normally what we see when we have like the letter A with this little apostrophe here. That just is meaning A prime, which is the new figure. And then translation is the specific thing we're going to talk about today. That is just when we take a figure and we slide it. That is going to change. That is not going to change the size or shape. It's just moving it around, almost like if you're playing checkers or chess. You're just sliding those pieces across the board. Make sure you have this copied in your notes before allowing the video to continue playing. If you need to, go ahead and pause it now. Otherwise, let's keep going. So our first example is a shaded figure, a translation of the non-shaded figure. And remember, translation means slide. I can remember that because if I see the letters SL right there in the middle of translation, that means I want to see it slide. Maybe pause right now, see if you can figure out which ones are a translation, and then click play to check your work. All right, number 1 is no. That one's actually a rotation. But number 2 is yes. 3 is no. This one's considered a reflection. But number 4 is yes. 2 and 4 are just examples of sliding the figure from before. The next piece we're going to talk about is how to write a rule to describe each transformation. So right here we're seeing that we are showing the translations. And what I would like for you to do is just pick a point that does not have a prime on it. So for instance, I'm going to pick point D, and I'm going to see how it changes to its image, which is D prime. So I want to go from D to D prime. Let's see what happens. To show for my transformation, I'm going to go to the right 1, and then I need to go down 2. So because I went right 1, down 2, this is how I'm going to write my rule. I would start off by doing X comma Y, a little arrow to show that it's transforming. And then because I went to the right 1, that means I'm taking my X value and adding 1 to it because X's go from left to right. And then down 2 means I took my Y value and subtracted 2. Okay, so just a little recap. Left / right are your X values. Left is going to be negative, right will be positive. And then for your Y values, those are going to be going down or up. Down would be negative, up would be positive. So those are going to be your Y values. Okay, so let's try the next one. In this case, maybe I choose point T, and I'm going to go to T prime. So again, T was my original pre-image, and T prime is my new image. To go to T, from T prime, I'm going to go left or right first. I'm going to go left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is left 5 or a negative 5. So that's going to be the first part of my rule, X comma Y arrow, and then X minus 5 because I went left. And then to get up to the T, you have to go up 1. Up 1 means a positive 1, so Y plus 1. Okay. Next, I'm going to have you try this one. These are where you're actually going to translate the figure according to what it says. So I'm going to do the first letter, and you're just going to pause it and try the next ones in your notes. I'm going to translate 1 unit to the right and 3 up. So that means I would be taking my X's and my Y's. 1 right means I'm adding 1 to the X value, and 3 up means I'm adding 3 to the Y value. So maybe we start with the letter T. I'm going to go 1 to the right. Here's 1 right, and then up 3. 1, 2, 3. Here's where my new T prime is going to be, and I'm going to make that dot a little bit bigger. Go ahead and pause the video now and see if you can finish out U, V, and S and where their new picture or points would be. All right, so letter U is going to go 1 to the right and then up 3. 1, 2, 3. Bigger point, U prime. V prime, 1 to the right, up 3. 1, 2, 3. A point, V prime. And then S, 1 to the right, up 1, 2, 3. Looks like S is going to share the point with the old T, and that's okay. But when you finish this and you're going to connect all of your points, you're going to notice that it's the same figure. We have just slid it to the right and up 3. Number 4, go ahead and try this one on your own. Again, start with one letter at a time, and you're going to go 3 to the left and 1 down. All right, let's see what happens. I'm going to start with letter S. 1, 2, 3 left, 1 down, makes S prime here. R prime, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 left, 1 down. And then T, I go 1, 2, 3 to the left and 1 unit down. Again, T is going to share that point with R, and that's okay. Sometimes that happens, but not all the time. Connecting my points, I should have the same exact shape, just slid to the left a little bit and down. The next piece I have is I'm going to graph the figure and the image of the figure using the transformation given. So now I'm going to put it all together. I'm going to translate this figure 5 units down. That just means my rule is going to be nothing changes in the X, but I'm going to change my Y by doing -5. So the first thing I'm going to do is plot my original points. I is at -3, +1. H is at -4, +5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So way up here. And G is at 1, +3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and connect those. And then I'm going to switch out my color so you can see the difference between the pre-image and then the image is going to be in a new color. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take each one of my points and translate 5 down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's H prime. I prime, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then G prime, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, notice I have the little prime symbols on there. You got to make sure you do that so that you are showing what your image is. Okay, I do want to show you something. So letter H is at -4, 5 to begin with, and H prime is now at -4, 0. Notice that my rule says 5 units down, which means I take my Y value and I subtract 5, and notice how 5 changed to 0. That's another quick way you can figure out how and where your translation will end up. Let's try the next one. Again, start by plotting your original points. Go ahead and pause this first, and then try your translations of 3 units left and 3 units down. All right, JJ is here at 0, 0. K is at -2, +3, so up here. L is at 3, +4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And M is at 4, -1, 1, 2, 3, 4, -1. So kind of stretched out here. I'm going to go ahead and connect all my points, and then I'm going to change my color so you can see how that's going to change from the pre-image to now the image. Okay, keeping in mind my translation is going 3 units left, so that means I'm going to take my X coordinates and -3, and 3 units down means I'm going to take my Y coordinates and -3. Okay, one way you can do that is if you started with letter J at 0, 0, you're going to subtract 3 from the X and 3 from the Y. So J prime should end up at -3, -3. Watch what happens. J is going to go to the left, 1, 2, 3, down 1, 2, 3. And J now is at -3, -3. If you wanted to do the same thing with K, -2, 3 is where it's at now. So K prime, I would just subtract 3 from both of these numbers. -2 minus 3 is -5, and 3 minus 3 is 0. So I should end up at -5, 0. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I do. L prime, left 1, 2, 3, down 1, 2, 3. Again, if I minus 3 from both of these, that means L prime is at 0, 1, and it is. M prime, if I minus 3 from both of these, I should get 1, -4. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, down 1, 2, 3. And M prime is at 1, -4. Go Go ahead and connect your points, and you should see that your figure is the same. You've just slid it down and to the left. We did talk about the coordinates of the images above, just how they were changing with here. The first one, I'm only subtracting 5 from each one, and this one I'm subtracting 3 and 3 from our x's and our y's. So, in summary, a translation means to slide, and your x and y values can be added or subtracted to find the image. So that's what we're actually going to try here with these two questions. Find the coordinates of the vertices if you use the following transformation. 3 units to the left means -3 for your x's, and 2 units down means -2 from your y's. So I would take u and I would do -3, -2. 2 minus 3 is -1, and 1 minus 2 is -1. So u prime is -1, -1. Let's do the same thing for t, -3 and -2. T prime, 4 minus 3 is 1, 3 minus 2 is 1, so my t prime is at 1, 1. And then s prime, -3 from the x, -2 from the y. S prime would be 3 minus 3, 0, and 0 minus 2, -2. See if you can pause the video and try this one here, all by yourself. 1 to the right means x plus 1, and 1 to the left means y plus 1. All right, so v prime, I'm going to add 1 and add 1 to x and y. -3 plus 1 is -2. -5 plus 1 is -4. For w prime, add 1 to -2, add 1 to -2. I get -1, -1. X prime, add 1 to 3, add 1 to -3. I get 4, -2. And y prime, add 1 to 2, and add 1 to -5. I get 3, -4. So again, in summary, you can take your x and y values and add them or subtract them to your pre-image to find your image instead of having to graph them all the time.